All right. Count it off. 3,
3,
2,
2,
1,
1, go.
go.
Hello, Ignacy Portal Games.
And this is Stephen Bonacore, the Podfather of gaming. And this is Board Games Insider, episode 162. We're recording it on September 9th, 2020. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And in honor of Star Trek Day, which was yesterday, September 8th, I would like to say to Tom Vassell, live long and prosper, but just a little less than I do. Ignacy, how's it going, buddy?
Well,
Did you know that it was Star Trek Day yesterday?
no. Star Trek is not a huge thing in Poland. I learned about Star Trek very late in my life, and I wasn't paying attention to this series. I'm so sorry for so many our listeners who are Trekkies. Yes, that's how they call them.
Trekkie, that's right, man.
Yep. But well, in Poland back then there was no Star Trek.
Oh wow, that's a shame because
Yep.
it was my and I watched the original when I was kind of a child. So because I'm old, but it was yes, it was one of my biggest loves back then, and still is. I'm a big Trekkie. I'm wearing my Star Trek shirt today. You can see it, and my listeners can see it. It says Star Trek on my shirt there. So, but let's get to what's happening at Portal Games, my friend.
As we reported the last week, indeed Portal Games had a virtual con. Everything went smooth, and people came, people had fun. We have really a huge audience, of course, especially in Poland, because we are celebrating Naroshima Hex Day. Naroshima Hex is extremely popular in Poland, so
very cool.
That was absolutely a blast the whole day with our fans on this virtual day. During this day, we announced a couple of items. The most important for all of our listeners is that we released Naroshima Convoy. This is a app version of my older card game. You can download it from e-stores for iOS, for Android devices. Two-player card game. One player is playing the outpost and trying to stop the Moloch, stop the robots. The other player is playing robots and they want to destroy New York. Once again, sorry for all the New Yorkers for this stupid idea for the theme of the game. That was back then. I didn't know that New York is so beautiful. Anyway, so you can download it for your device. I strongly recommend the Naroshima Convoy. We already have reviews and ratings because it was a couple of days release, and we have a great feedback. So I'm very happy. Okay, in a moment. We have some interruption from Greg.
Greg, come on here. If you go and watch us on YouTube, you'd see Greg just pop his head into the recording.
And for the brag of the week, and my favorite part of the show, a special treat for all the listeners who watch us. So I'm now once again helping Steven promote this video version of the podcast, because now I'm showing something that all of you who use only Spotify can only imagine. I'm showing that here it is, UK Game Award. Do you see that, Steven?
Oh, that is really pretty. Very nice.
So a few weeks ago we reported, and I was mean reporting that I got an award, but I was not informed about this award, so I learned about this from internet. So believe it or not, the story continues. Still, we have no official contact from the UK Game Expo, so there was no email, nothing like that. But we received actual physical award. So this is I have a proof. I have an award. You cannot find it in the internet, but I have it.
But it's a People's Choice Award. So who was the person who was voting?
I guess people
at the virtual show. Okay, why not? That's very cool.
American style board game. So that was Empires of the North being for a moment serious. Empires of the North getting this award. So I'm very happy. As we always say in this podcast, there is this few types of awards. There is awards like Spieldesigers that are given by the jury that is well educated. They know the game. They know why they are giving this award. We always say that quite similar is the Dice Tower Award, also by the people who know the games very well, like reviewers. Then we have the Golden Geek Awards that whole the internet just votes. Everybody votes, and everybody gives this award. So there are these different types. This one is a people's choice, so I guess this is similar to Golden Geek. Of course, less people voted for sure. So that was my brag of the week. Pre-orders of the week. Pre-orders we announced during the day of the Moloch. We announced Naroshima Hex, Year of the Moloch, extremely epic edition with a big box, with the storage for all the expansion, with the plastic pieces, with the art book, the hardcover, with the campaign. Insane. You have to check out our website, portalgames.pl/en or portalgames.us.com and get all the information, because this is the most epic game, like in terms of the product, of the components we ever published. So this is similar to what Steven was doing back then when he was working in the industry with Terraforming Mars storage box with all these fancy things. We did something like that for Naroshima Hex with this amazing that big miniature of the Borgo. So great stuff. Check out our website.
That big was about 6 inches, or that would be like
it's 14 centimeters.
I was going to try to translate for our European. Thank you for doing that.
14 centimeters. So huge miniature added to the box. So check out the Naroshima Hex Year of the Moloch edition. And because of the celebration of the whole event, we are printing this in 2020 copies, because Attack of the Moloch happened in the year 2020 according to the lore. So we have 2020 copies printed, and we are very excited. Upcoming street dates, I think that Steven, when he was working in the industry, was teaching me to remember about them. So Naroshima Hex Troglodytes just released this past week, and Detective Season 1, a new edition in the detective line. I strongly recommend Season 1. It is something that you want to start the adventure with Detective Season 1, September 17th.
My legacy, Ignacy, in this industry is that I taught you that street dates are important and you need to know them and talk about them, number one. And number two, I also taught you failingly how to say Amazon.
You did not.
Not Amazon. Amazon.
No,
Go ahead.
But I will pass this knowledge about the street days to our younger publisher. In the future, I will meet some younger publisher and will say him, this is the knowledge from Steven. Remember that this is important.
That's right.
That's it. Of course, a lot of playtesting here at Portal Games. It is always. I'm going to write an article about this because it's quite confusing. Next week, we are releasing Detective Season 1, amazing game for all the fans of deduction games. But at this very moment, I am playtesting this next game in the line, Vienna Connection. That is a project. So I am the most excited about this new project. I want to talk about this new project. I want to build, marketing about this new project, while I should actually promote the one that is hitting the stores. So it is always very, very confusing when you are publisher and designer at the same time. So that's enough about Portal Games. Things are happening. Check out our website, portalgames.pl/en, and you will learn everything. Don't follow me on Facebook because still Ignacy has no Facebook. It's terrible. At this point, I'm really pissed. Yesterday, I posted a mean comment on Twitter just to get some steam out of me because it is really, really frustrating. Now we are 6 weeks without me getting access to Instagram and Facebook. And once again, this is not my personal thing. It's just my company. My company is suffering, and this is really, really a huge problem for the business.
Sorry to hear that's still happening. But on lighter notes, I continue to challenge you all to please come over to my new social media and follow me on Twitter and Instagram is @Podfather Gaming, and like me on Facebook /Podfather Gaming. And of course, since Ignacy was my 100th subscriber, we now have a custom URL on YouTube. And I got to tell you, I mean, the subscribers for the YouTube channel, and it's been great. Of course, we have 20,000 or so downloads, so I can have a lot more. But it's been great. I mean, the whole changeover from doing Stronghold constantly now to this, I've had a lot of people joining up on my new social media, and I thank everybody out there very much. So the new on YouTube, it's now youtube.com/The Podfather of Gaming. You have to keep the channel name exactly the same as your URL name there. So I got that. So please continue doing that, those who have not subscribed yet. We're still doing, of course, our happy hour every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you if you like the Facebook page, The Podfather of Gaming, you will be able to see where the link is to come into the Zoom. Check it out. I mean, it's worth an hour to see what craziness we do on that, and it's just a lot of fun. Whether we're talking about currywurst, which is one of our big topics, the great currywurst debate, or Bonacor's underwear, or something like that. It's we keep it light, fun, and engaging for everybody. And of course, as I've mentioned recently, that I started co-hosting the Dice Towers board game breakfast every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can tune in live and you watch Tom, myself, Z Garcia. We talk about news. That's the thing that they do, mostly new game releases. So we don't really do that much here. So you get to hear that. I'll add some news, like some stuff that we do here, some like kind of business stuff once in a while into that. We also do a game show where one or two of us are going against each other. That's just a lot of fun. And then there's contributors from the rest of the Dice Tower network that do video segments that are pre-recorded. But a lot of fun. Another 1 hour Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern time board game breakfast. Check it out.
Remember to mention my street dates during this breakfast. Remember?
Yeah, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not allowed. I can't. You know, can't play favorites. I have to be nice to Tom. No, not too nice. we battle with each other on air. It's pretty funny. So my little news of the week is that on Saturday, it was the Kentucky Derby, which is the biggest horse racing event in the world, I would imagine. And we had a small Kentucky Derby party. It was just five of us. You know, we can't have big parties, still COVID. Paula and I, my brother, who is a crazy gambler. I mean, the guy gambles. He's got a lot of money, so he gambles a lot of money. And another couple that we always hang out with here in South Florida. And bad decisions were made because the boys got together first. So it was like bourbon coming out, cigars, and a lot of gambling, a lot like crazy. So just bad decisions. Then the ladies showed up. And good things started happening. We drank some fine wine. And the best of all is I got the other people, Paula and I, of course, are real gamers. The other three, no, they do not game at all, basically. I mean, they think that what I do is like ridiculous, or what I did. They think this gaming stuff is nonsense. But I got them to play Turf Master. Familiar with Turf Master, Ignacy?
Nope.
Turf Master is a gorgeous production. And I have the deluxe edition with die-cast metal horses that are all hand painted from the factory, and the horses move around the track. You each have one or two horses depending on the number of players. We each had one horse, and the horses move around the track based on card play and based on dice rolling as well. But the randomness factor is very mitigated due to everybody like using the same dice, not like I roll a 1, you roll a 12 kind of thing, or whatever the case may be. No, everyone uses the same dice on those turns, and the card play, everyone has the same deck of cards, and they just come out in different orders. You got a draft, but I got non-gamers to play this quite gamerly game, and they had a great time, and my brother won. So guess what? We'll get him to play more games in the future. So that was great. And you can go check out the photos and the video of this that I posted on my Facebook page and on the Podfather of Gaming, showing us, and with our fancy hats, because one thing that's done at the Kentucky Derby, if you actually go to the racetrack in Kentucky, all of the women especially wear fancy hats. So I was wearing a cowboy hat, a horse riding hat, because I've ridden horses in the past, and Paula had this fancy hat on. So we had a cute little fun time with our Kentucky Derby party.
I have to admit that you're a great advocate for retirement. Like it looks like being retired is so much fun. It's amazing.
And that is sort of part of what I'm doing right now. Yes. The whole, you know what? I can have a lot of fun even if I'm not spending time sweating about game releases and things like that. Somebody posted, who was that? Oh, now I'm forgetting. It's kind of Rachel.
Facebook, that wasn't me.
My friend Rachel Blasky. I love her. She's just wonderful. From Poketso, the new Poketso games. She posted, Stephen, I love the way you live life to the fullest every day. That's a really wonderful little thought. So anyway, check that out on Facebook. And in the meantime, let's go to the news. So here in the event deck, the first thing we have is the more in the continuing saga of CMON. And here they have chosen a new auditor in their path to resumed stock trading and coming out of having their audit issues. Let me read this. CMON Limited held an extraordinary general meeting of shareholders on August 27th and voted to appoint this CPA firm, I don't want to even try to pronounce it, as the company's new auditor, one step toward a resumption in trading of the company's stock. At the annual general meeting of the company held on July 31st, shareholders had voted not to reappoint PricewaterhouseCoopers as auditor of the company for the next year, requiring the appointment of a new auditor. Trading has been suspended since April when the company warned of 3 audit issues, one of which was related to the accounting for Kickstarter projects, and said it would delay the release of its annual report for 2019. The Hong Kong Stock Exchange has notified the company of these 3 issues that needed to be resolved before trading can resume. An investigation into the audit issues raised by the company's auditors must be conducted, the findings announced, and the appropriate remedial actions taken. All outstanding financial results must be published, with any audit modifications addressed, and all material information allowing investors to appraise the company's position must be announced. So we reported on all this previously, that they had this audit issue. And the most significant one was that PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is one of the largest, maybe the largest auditor in the world, they cited a going concern issue. And that's a very specific term in accounting, meaning that the audit said that they didn't believe, based on their review, that the company would continue to be able to operate within the next year, like they were going to go bankrupt, which CMON said, no, they're just not understanding how Kickstarter accounting works. Interesting. So now they're going to another auditor, basically to get another opinion, which is very interesting, not unheard of, but it's just very interesting. And now they've gotten this other auditor to do this. This might be boring business stuff for you, Ignacy, but to me, when the second biggest company in the industry is indicating or their auditor is saying, we don't know if this company is going to be around, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, for me, it's interesting that it takes so long. Like we reported this going concern months ago. And my perception would be that if there is any doubts about the company and they have these problems now on the stock market, they need to resolve it as soon as possible. But then there was just a press release, and then we all forget about this problem, and now months later they're looking for different auditors. So as always, like Portal Games is not as big to be listed on a stock market, of course, so I don't know much about this part of the running business, but for sure I'm really surprised that it takes so long to make the things very, very clear. We are fine with our finances or we are not fine. And of course, you said that it is not exceptional to find another auditor. For me, it's, once again, not being an expert, very, very surprising that the one auditor says you're going out of the business, so let's ask different auditor. Like this
let's just ask somebody else. Let's just shop the opinion around.
Yeah, human opinion perspective. That's very strange. But it happens. Okay.
It is a little odd. I'm following this one very closely. I'm really interested in how this works. So I get notifications of what happens with CMON because they're publicly traded, so I can get a view into it. Very good. Stay tuned for more on that. The next item, I think I know why you added it here. Nuremberg Fair to support new exhibitors. And by the way, Nuremberg is like the New York Toy Fair, but it's not called Nuremberg really. The way that we call Essen, this convention, which happens to be in Essen, we call it Nuremberg, which happens to be in Nuremberg, Germany. Very odd. Why don't we call it by their real names? Well, you know why? Because it's 37 letters in the real name of this thing. It's Spielwarenmesse. Really, German words are like crazy.
Spielwarenmesse.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Your German is much better than mine. So, Ignacy, I assume that you put this here not only to mention that they're supporting new exhibitors, but just to say that they believe that they're going to run their event early next year.
I see it on many levels. So on one level, I see that this is a quite exceptional philosophy to run a convention to support these new exhibitors. So like for me, hey, other organizers, let's look how they do it in Germany, because it's very interesting perception. It's very interesting that for the first time we hear about the preparation for the convention for the next year, because on one hand, for the past month, we were saying we hope next year all conventions will be back, but we see that COVID is still a thing. Still, right. We have no vaccine. So Nuremberg is the first convention that says openly, yes, we are preparing for the Nuremberg Fair for the next year. So this is the second reason why I put it here. And of course, Nuremberg Fair is our industry convention. So it's always good to report that it's happening.
Yeah, based on this press release, because this is an actual press release,
yep.
Talking about first-time exhibitors and things like that. They're saying that they're running this January 27th through 31st, 2021. So this may be the first game. It's game and toy, so it's done toward mass market as well as hobby market. This may be the first industry event that's going to run, and certainly we hope it does. But
yes, and if you can read just a one or two fragments of this press release to explain our listeners what's happening. Like Spielwarenmesse wants to put the new exhibitors in the preferred, better places, so visitors can find them easier because they're new ones. Very interesting concept.
They're giving them prime location in Hall 3A, which is a popular attraction for retailers and buyers. So I've never been to Nuremberg Spielwarenmesse, but it would be. But I'm sure it's very, it's an interesting fair. It's really for retailers to see publishers and distributors. So it's not been something that we've needed to go to in the past. But I mean, I hope this does happen. It'd be great. So the next one, Ignacy, I love it. Wizards of the Coast is offering another job. We had them talking about having a new vice president of Dungeons and Dragons last week, and I said I was coming out of retirement for that. But now they are offering a game design director job, and this one has to do specifically with children's game, and video games. It looks like.
Wizards of the Coast Kids. It is the first time I heard about this. I don't know if you heard about this division of Wizards of the Coast.
Nope.
It's too early for me. I didn't find many items about this, but if they are going for the toys or like board games for the kids, or maybe Magic the Gathering the kids version, like I don't know, there's not much detail. Yep. But for sure there's a job offer, so we can let me read a
little bit. So we're seeking a game design director to join a newly formed kids games studio and help us craft the next big kids gaming and entertainment IP. So they're looking to craft an IP out of this. Reporting to the studio head of the Wizards Kids Studio, we will initially work as a small strike team as we iterate on and define our vision. So very early stage stuff. We'll explore treatments of existing Wizards and Hasbro brands in addition to completely new ideas to entertain a new generation of gamers. Then we'll build a diverse team of game designers to bring our shared vision to life. Share your passion for crafting engaging games for kids and guide us into the future of kids games and entertainment. Here's the requirements of the job: extensive game design experience in video games for kids 6 to 12 with multiple shipped titles and including team leadership, 5+ years required, 10+ years preferred. Completed at least one full development cycle in a game design director or comparable position. Experience managing and nurturing a full spectrum of game designers to executional excellence. 2+ years required, 10+ years preferred. So fairly senior position and very specific requirements for this job. You basically have to have management leadership positions in video games for kids. Interesting.
At some point, we'll report more, I guess, in 2 years.
maybe if we find out. So here's another interesting one that that you posted, and this is Asmodee UK is running an interactive online trade show, and this is September. This just occurred, or is this next year?
Yes, it was this week. It happened this week.
Okay, and this was specifically to bring retailers virtually to look at all of the Asmodee games. And this is Asmodee UK. This is not Asmodee North America, Asmodee Corporate. So it's Asmodee UK reaching out to the retailers there to come and view all of their games, all of the things that they're doing, all of their new studios, because they're continuing to pick up new studios. Like they just picked up Bananagrams too, to add into their kind of mass market-ish line. So Asmodee UK, by far the biggest distributor in the UK. They used to be called Esdevium or Stevium. If anybody's heard of those, we've used that term interchangeably on this podcast. And this would be equivalent to the Alliance Trade Show or ACD Game Days and things like that. But of course, since we're all in COVID world, retailers are not flying to wherever they would do this in London or something like that. So they are doing it virtually. Ignacy, anything to add to this? I didn't go through it in too much detail.
Yeah, I was checking some news about this. Asmodee was telling how many hours and their sales reps were spending with retailers, showing in the Zoom conferences and in the Skypes all these new items and having face-to-face time with the retailers. Of course, it looked like a very busy event. And no question, if you are Asmodee, you have these hot items and everybody wants to hear about this new pandemic legacy, etc., etc. If you're a retailer, you want to learn that. And this is for the first time we are reporting B2B convention that is taking virtually. We just finished the summer convention time with all these Gen Cons, UK Game Expos, etc., etc. And now we are discussing for the first time B2B convention. And of course, the question that appears is what's going to happen in next year if you are going to have a real Gamma or virtual Gamma. Just to remind everybody, Gamma was the first convention where the whole COVID became a thing for the industry. Oh, yeah. When so many publishers decided to not go, we were reporting that very deeply back then. And here we are, as you just said, first distributor running their show virtually. I checked the website. As I said, I checked some of the news. It looked very professional, as you can expect from the Asmodee.
Sure.
Well executed event, and I guess retailers in UK are now well educated about the new items for the Q3 and Q4 from Asmodee.
Last news item. The FAA, that's the Federal Aviation Commission. They run all of the U.S., everything that flies, they're in charge of. The FAA grants Amazon drone permit 6 years after Amazon applied for the drone permit, which is very interesting. This has nothing to do with board games per se, but everything to do with Asmodee, which is one of our biggest clients. So let's talk about it. 6 years after originally applying, the Federal Aviation Administration has granted the Amazon Prime Air request for a permit to use unmanned aircraft systems for deliveries, according to Adweek. The goal is to deliver within 30 minutes of the order being received. Amazon developed extensive safety protocols and technology to clear the requirements for the permit. UPS was granted a similar permit last October and completed test deliveries of 2 descriptions in Cary, North Carolina. So, Ignacy, I'm gonna go on record here. If Amazon starts delivering via drone to me, I am going to be sitting in my driveway just ordering things all day. I'm like, you know what? I need a bottle of hand sanitizer. And I'm going to see this drone come and drop a package on my head. I will order things in my driveway all day to watch drones flying and dropping things in my driveway. That, to me, would be so cool. I don't know about you, but
I remember, and I guess you remember as well. 2017, I had this seminar for retailers. I was visiting different events in America and in Europe, doing this retailer seminar about how to survive in the e-commerce era. 3 years ago, 3 years past, and one of the points I had during the seminar was Amazon is doing drone delivery. It will happen, and your customers need something more than just a chance to purchase the product at your store. You have to have an event, you have to have a tournament, you have to have all these additional things, because no customer in upcoming months or years will go to the car, drive through the traffic to just visit your store and purchase an item while he can have it delivered by the drone. And it was one of my points. Then the retailers in our industry, this amazing industry of entertainment, board games, right? They have to reshape the whole store for the events, and this is why people will visit your store to take part in the event. So I was excited about these drones a few years ago, and now you are going to have them. I have to wait a few years in Poland, I guess, but in America they will start delivering you a beer very, very soon.
I guarantee one of the first things I'm going to do is order a board game, and I want to see that thing drop. So I want to catch it as the thing is coming down. I want to catch it. That's going to be great. All right. Anyway, enough silliness. Let's get over to our strategy and tactics segment. Alex Tefano.
We cannot be silly in this segment. We can, right?
We can be silly. Absolutely be silly. Alex Tefano. He asks, by the way, he's Old Stockings on Board Game Geek. What do you like most about working with first-time designers? What do you like most about working with established designers? So what's the best part, Ignacy, of working with a first-time designer and with an established designer?
First, from my experience, first-time designer, of course, is extremely excited about the project. So he's doing a ton of amazing work in terms of promoting the game on the forums. He's overactive on every single platform, talking about his game and giving interviews, and he does most of the marketing for you, basically, because he's so excited. And of course, it's great for the publisher having this overactive designer. For the established designers, I wrote an article about this a couple of months ago. All my team members, all my employees fall in love with Rob Deview after we work with him for the Dig Deeper, because he's a tip-top professional. He just delivered the files and they were ready to publish. There was no work needed if you are working with this established great designer. He knows how to prepare the files, he knows how to edit them, he just delivers you the product and you are going to manufacture it, as simple as that. So both of these type of designers have their advantages, and they're both great, of course.
Yeah, for me, it's I love as Ignacy said, the passion of a first-time designer, of course, but guiding them to get better in what they do in their pitches, because I'm not going to. Normally I can't spend time guiding them in their design, but I can sometimes now, especially. But guiding them to pitch better and to explain to them, well, this is the way you should try to present this game to publishers in the future. Usually that's with, by the way, we can't do the games. So by the way, in the next pitch that you go talk to Portal Games or something, maybe you could show it to them like this. So you give them that guidance and you get them that knowledge that we have on what we want to see. And then, as Ignacy said, on the other hand, when you work with an established designer, Rob Davio, Eric Lang, or anybody, you're getting pitched a perfect pitch. They know how to pitch it. They come to you correctly with the game. And of course, they give you a well thought out design that you don't got to do much work on. It's just going to work from the beginning or pretty close. And that's just, of course, rewarding that you can actually trust these guys because they know what they're doing. So we have Stanga on Board Game Geek, who's at Stanga. Hey, all, do you like Tex-Mex food? I do. I love it. I had Tex-Mex yesterday. I had tacos yesterday. It was Taco Tuesday here. I had tacos yesterday. Ignacy, do you like Tex-Mex?
Yes, I fell in love with this food when I was visiting a BGG Con in Dallas, and there's a little story We were out of stock of the product during the convention, and then I found in some of the boxes one last copy of the product. I don't remember the title of the game, but there was the last product, and I posted a tweet, hey, I have this very last copy. And one of the BG attendees saw this tweet and said, keep it, I'm running to your booth. So I kept the product, he ran to the booth, he bought the product, and he said that he appreciated the fact that I kept the product for him, and he invited me for the dinner, believe it or not.
Nice.
Yes, and he is local for the Dallas, and he chose best in his opinion Tex-Mex restaurant. Invited me and my wife Mary, and we had a great time. We became friends over the years, of course. And so my first introduction to Tex-Mex food couldn't be better, I have to admit.
Excellent. A board game family who's at a board game family on Board Game Geek been enjoying the podcast since episode 1 of Less Than 10. That's a hit for Tom, who said that we'd never make 10 episodes. Wrong-o again, Tom. Especially learning about the business side of the production. And my question is, have you ever thought of putting the manufacturer's logo on the box? I guess they mean the printer. If even just on the side or in the rules. I've always wondered which games I own have been made at Ludofact or Panda. Is there a reason not to put their logo on the box? Well, because it's our game. I would think knowing the manufacturer might even raise the perceived value of the game. For example, Ludofact to experienced gamers. I'll go first. We do sometimes, but not 100% because we're trying to be nice to the printer. We call them printers. Yes, they manufacture the game. Not because we want to be nice or advertise them, and we shouldn't really. Let's face it. They're our games. We're putting all the money into it. They get paid. They're doing a job for us. But some of the codes on boxes occasionally, Ludofact has specific codes they put there, and it kind of says, I think it even says Ludofact, yada, yada, with some numbers on it, or maybe it's LF with some numbers on it. And Panda at one time was basically putting their logo on things. And I back then I told them, no, you're not putting your logo on my box. It just can't do that. It's just not the way it works. The logos are of the company who's doing it. Could be the logo of the design team as well. And of course, designers' names are very important, but not the logo of the printer. Ignacy, anything to add on that?
It's quite similar for us. We had a few exceptions of the rule. I don't remember precisely which title, but I know that we have produced a couple of games with the logo of manufacturer, but that was the effect of negotiation. That was effect that we say, we'll put your logo, but we want something, in exchange. So for them is a marketing chance to promote their company on my box. And of course, they hope that this box will be successful and many people will see it and the production will be amazing. But of course, then in exchange, I wanted something. So in general, we are not doing that. Sometimes if this is very, very good for both of the sides, we go for such a deal. But this
Right.
is, as I said, effect of the negotiations.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Kevin Heiners, who's K. Heiners, he asks, hello, Stephen Ignacy, from Frosty, Des Moines, Iowa. He's from Des Moines, Iowa. I understand Stephen is the guest of honor. Yes, I was at GammaCon later this year. Bring a warm jacket. I'm sure if I can make it this time, but I'm not sure if I can make it this time, but I'll be at Geekway of the West in St. Louis. Hope to see you both there. On to the question, how much time do you spend in an average day reading and responding on social media channels? Board Game Geek, Facebook, Twitter. Do you enjoy the interactions, or do you feel this is just a necessary job of promoting your products? Why don't you take that, Ignacy?
For me, it's very simple. So Portal Games has full-time employees, the whole marketing team that is responsible for doing that. So I have people doing that for Polish channels, for English channels, and they are posting and responding, replying. There's so many messages from so many customers. And then there is me, there's Ignacy, and as Stephen always mentioned in the final notes, me and Stephen, we are responding directly on our Twitter channels. And this is me, Ignacy, just enjoying the community, enjoying being board gamer like you guys. So I'm never counting how much time, because I'm doing it in my free time, I'm doing it after work. So Right now, when I'm recording podcasts and I'm at the work, I'm in the office, I'm not tweeting, I'm not checking my Facebook, I'm working and doing work. But then I will go home, I will sit at home and do something, and I can check my Twitter, and I can interact with the fans, I can have some conversations, and this is time I'm not counting because it's my free time, and I'm enjoying that. So in business hours, I spend zero time. My marketing team is doing that. In my free time, depends on the day.
Back at Stronghold, I would absolutely do it during business hours. Mostly Twitter. Twitter is sort of my preferred social media of choice for the quick reactions, but also a little on Facebook there. Now I do less because there's, I'm not running a company now. I'm just talking about myself and things like that, and this podcast and other things in my personal life. And it's always me, and I've always loved it. Simple as that. As Ignacy said, we're gamers. We want to be part of your lives in gaming. So, yeah, it's not just a necessary job. It's an enjoyable thing that we do. Love doing it. Chris Gravius, who's at Gravy Train, I like that one. What is the most challenging part of bringing it all together into a cohesive final product? Bringing the entire game together, I guess he means. Things like matching the feel of the box art, rules, cards, bits, etc., so they look like it was all planned that way from the beginning. The most challenging part, Ignacy, of bringing everything together. What do you think? Interesting question.
Yes, it's interesting question. It's hard to to point out this one most challenging thing. The fact is that when you design a game, when you produce the game, you have illustrators who do the artwork, and this is some people. There you have your in-house or outsourced people who do all the layout for the cards, all the fonts, the icons. They choose the font on the rule book. Then you have the production. In my company, that is Greg, you just saw a few minutes ago, that is preparing the pieces. If you are going for the wooden pieces, if you are going for the plastic pieces, what type of the cardboard we are using. And so you have all these different people, and for depending on the, of course, complexity of the game, but we are talking about a really dozen of people involved in the project. And then you have to have this, as Chris said, one bigger vision, and that makes all these things suddenly fits together. And I'm a huge fan, and we mentioned this many times in this podcast, of Jamie Stegmaier work, because when you open the Wingspan, oh my God, it all fits together, every single bit, every single artwork piece, and the rule book, everything is like, this is one cohesive product, yes, and this is why you guys, gamers, love his games so much, and why he's a role model from the industry. And of course, all of our companies wants to go in this direction to have this cohesive product. When I look at the Steven, it immediately reminds me Friedman Freeze, because Steven was publishing Friedman Freeze, and Friedman Freeze games, always green ones, always with the specific letter at the beginning of the title. You can always also say that his games were also very cohesive. So yeah, this is quite a challenge, especially when there is many people involved. But when you get this game ready, and if it looks amazing, this is a very fulfilling.
Yeah, I'm always think of the artwork and that because that brings things usually together for a game, and it brings the game to life, so to speak. I've always thought of that as the most challenging part, getting the right feel in your artwork, because there's so many directions you can take.
Yep.
Have some more beer. There's so many directions that you can take when you do art. You can make it cartoony, you can make it gory. Probably not in the same exact game, but you could, right? Like it's a zombie game. Yeah. It could be cartoony. It could be bloody. So that to me is the most challenging. What is that vision that you want to have, and or the designer wanted to have come out in that game? So there you have it. Ignacy, let's get over to playtesting. And I've already changed your English here, Ignacy.
I appreciate that.
So go for it.
And before I start, I want to change rules of this segment starting this week, because I have the perception that if I always ask questions, they start to becoming very similar to each other. So I challenge both of us that the one week I ask question, and the other week you ask me question. So therefore, there will be more diverse these questions.
Yeah, that means I have to think more. I'm retired. I don't want to think anymore. This means I have to do more work, Ignacy. Okay, for you.
47 minutes ago, we were listening to what were you doing for the past week. So I think you have some free time to come with the one question a week, 2 weeks. Do you own a super fancy bleached out edition of the game you love? If so, what is it? And did Kickstarter kill some of the joy of having bleached out editions with so many Kickstarter releases looking insane good? And funny enough, when I came up with this question, and then you mentioned that you were playing this amazing game with the horse racings and the metal pieces, so I guess you have at least one.
Yeah. So the easy. This is like the easiest question you've ever asked me, because I own like one of the most expensive games ever done in its blinged out edition, and that would be War of the Ring, the collector's edition. I've mentioned it 1,000 times on every podcast. So this is easy. And yes, I do have it, and I love it, and it's amazing. And I continue to like bling it out, even though it was ridiculous, and the game is now worth over $2,000. I added like the blinged out cities that somebody made like on Etsy. I don't know how he did it. I reached out to him. He made them. I got those. I got some guy did these extra tokens. So instead of like for the rings in the game where you can use a ring to change a die, but you can only do it like 3 times during the game. So I use a ring, I can change a die, then you could use it and it's out of the game kind of thing. I got these extra tokens that change that, and they're gorgeous. They look like rings. They've got a little sting on it. And then also for the corruption track, I had that. So I love that game so much. Oh, and then I got a dice tray. I got this one ring dice tray that Dave, I'm going to mention him. He's a wonderful guy, Dave Orse made. I saw it. I said, dude, that is amazing. And he said, I'm going to make you one. I paid him for it because I refused to take it for free. But it's this beautiful gold dice tray, plastic, but it's gold, shiny. Oh, I love it so much. So that's the quick answer. Second part.
That was a quick answer.
That was a quick answer. Yeah, easy. Well, I'm passionate about this game. You also did Kickstarter kill some of the joy of having blinged out editions with so many Kickstarter editions looking insanely good? Short answer, no. I just don't need every game in my collection to look like that. If I like the game a lot, sure, I'll add the bling. So I see something on Kickstarter and it's gorgeous, but I really, 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 really like it or want it. Maybe it's a new edition of a game that I really like. So you're like, oh, this is cool. Then I'll get it. I'll have it blinged out. But no, Kickstarter's not killing it for me at all. Ignacy?
For me, I have my super amazing edition of Arkham Horror. FFG didn't put out this super fancy edition, so I had to create it by myself. And so I bought a ton of different components online and made it amazing. So yes, I have in my collection my favorite card game in this super fancy edition. For the Kickstarter, for me, a little bit of that there is. Like there is so many games that I released from Kickstarter that are amazing. Then when I see this super fancy edition, I see, well, it looks like from the Kickstarter, like a regular one these days, because all these amazing editions from the Kickstarter look like they're already blinked out.
Right.
And now eager to hear your answers, because I'm going to Board Game Geek Guild.
Oh, but I've got to say this part. Ignacy will now create a thread right now on Board Game Geek in our guild. So please go there and answer this question that we are posing to you as well. Ignacy, are you doing it? Are you sure? I can see him. He's typing something, so he must be doing it, or else he's lying.
And we have new members, 1,095 members.
And we give you the membership report of our guild on Board Game Geek, where you should go over there and become a member as well. Be part of us. We're one of the biggest ones out there. Let's do this. And maybe next year you'll actually give us a Golden Geek Award too. All right, let's go over to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts. To ask us questions for strategy and tactics, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you for our playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this week's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also, on Facebook, please like Ignacio's page and Steven's page, which is /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgames.pl, portalgamesus.com, and podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, keep up to date with us on a minute-by-minute basis. On Twitter, @ChevyCheck and @Podfather Gaming. Same on Instagram and the YouTube channels, Portal Games and The Podfather of Gaming with my new custom URL. Very excited. We hope to see you, please, as soon as the crisis is over, at a convention. Come up to us when you do see us there. We love to talk to you guys. And Board Games Insider was professionally edited, the audio version, not this video version, which I just throw up there, by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. And if you like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Ignacy, anything special to report for our listeners right at the end of the show?
I miss my Facebook.
Yes, he does. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for showing up. Take care. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.